There she be. Look at those big chunking glaciers. That is a good shot.
Good morning, welcome to Cooley Outdoors. I'm your host, Brandon Scott. Today's going to be a solo trip, and it's not going to be the most satisfying trip today for me, but it should be fairly satisfying for you all, because this is going to be, I'm going to be doing one of the more popular hikes in the state and in the area. I'm doing the Naches Peak Loop Trail in Mount Rainier National Park. It's also almost halfway in the William O. Douglas wilderness, but because it's mostly in the national park, it's going to go in the national park section. There are the lists there for the ratings. Why do I say it's not going to be super satisfying if it's popular? Especially since it's a Thursday in the middle of September and there's almost nobody here. Well, I've already done this hike a couple of times before starting the channel, and this wasn't my first this wasn't even close to what I wanted to be doing today. What I wanted to be doing today was riding a bike up the Carbon Road to catalog that for future hikes and bikes up the Carbon Road. But when I got up this morning, the tires on my bicycle had gone flat. Like dead flat, like pumping them full of air wasn't going to save them. So I bagged that, and I was going to go do like Green Lake, but I know that's fairly high on people's list to come do with me, so I'm not going to do Green Lake for now. That could be saved for like a cloudy spring day, just because that's the type of hike it is. And also, I would really like to go further along from Naches Peak to along the Pacific Crest Trail down to Dewey Lakes and turn it into like a 8-mile day instead of a 5-mile day. But that's also really high on Nash's list of things to go do, and I'd feel bad screwing him out of that one. It becomes like number 4 overall on our William O. Douglas wilderness hiking list. So yeah, I'm not going to do that. So instead I'm going to go take it easy, walk around Naches Peak. The good thing is, though, it is September, so there's going to be almost no bugs. It's also going to be almost no wildflowers, but I'm going to take it easy, walk around, get video from up and along Naches Peak at Rainier, and then probably snag a parking spot along Tipsoo Lake and get a video of Rainier from Tipsoo Lake, and then I guess go home on a fairly early short day and continue cranking out YouTube videos, because I'm not behind. Well, in ways I am and am not behind, but I need to get back on top of that, especially if we're going to go do some larch hikes and stuff and hopefully get some more content cranked out. I need to stay on top of the videos I do have already filmed, just not crunched out and uploaded to YouTube. But enough of that. Let's look at the map of the books. So you've got day hike series, day hike Mount Rainier National Park, number 28 Naches Peak Loop, 4.5 mile trip, 2 to 3 hours, elevation gain 700 feet, going around Naches Peak. I can show you that here on too. And then of course 50 hikes Mount Rainier National Park, number 34 Naches Peak Loop, 4.5 miles, 3 hours, mid-July through October. And if we look at the map, we're up here at the top of Chinook Pass at the border between Mount Rainier National Park and with the Wenatchee National Forest. Parked here, and I'm going to go that way. The recommended way is to do it clockwise, so you walk along the backside of Naches Peak, looking down the American and Rainier Fork River valleys, and then you get to the junction where you swing around the Naches Peak Loop proper, because this first section is the PCT. And then you swing around on the Naches Peak Loop with Rainier in your face the entire time, and then you walk past Tipsoo and end up back down here. So yeah, let's go. It's gonna be a gorgeous sunny day too, so that's gonna be in our favor too. Let's go hit it. Take this side trail. Oh, the Alpine meadows are still so very fragrant. Up and out of the parking lot. Right there, this is the PCT parking. This is the parking lot for the PCT trailhead at Chinook Pass, which we will get to up here very shortly. So I really should be in a better mood for this. It still is a sunny day. It's still going to be a gorgeous day. And I'm only really in a bad mood because I realized how boxed in I am because of how popular the trails in this area are for Nash too. I don't want to screw him out of the experience either.
because yeah, so you can see the Crest Trail running that direction. It goes, I think it goes that way, or I don't know, one of those two, which is heading north towards Sheep Lake and Sourdough Gap. At some point we will do that. Hopefully it'll be later in the season than this, when everything's in fall colors. When we do that, I will post that there. So now we're on the Crest Trail proper. So yeah, this is gonna be, I don't know, I guess option 2.5. Option 1 was to ride my bicycle up the Carbon River Road on a rare sunny day by myself. That I would have been totally fine doing that by myself, because I've already been up the Carbon with Nash. Holy crap. Larkspur. We've already done it with Nash. It was one of the first things we did on Cooley Outdoors. It was a very wet and soggy June day, and for some reason some of the videos never made it to YouTube and then got deleted off my computer. I have, from that day, I had Ipsit Falls and the Carbon River over the log bridge on the way to Chinook Falls, but the actual bicycling in the Chinook Falls videos never made it to YouTube. So I'm fine with going and riding the Carbon River by myself, just to catalog it, to set up base for the 5 or 6 hikes you can do up the Carbon via bicycle. That'll help set you up for that, looking down the American River Valley towards Yakima. So yeah, the bike was fine. Yesterday I picked it up from my parents. It was a little low, so I filled it. I mean, it wasn't like super low. It probably had still 30 pounds of air in it, and I filled it up to 50. So I figured I should be fine for the day. And this morning it's super flat, like dead flat. Like, need to change out the tire, need to change out the rubber on it, which is bull, because I did that at the beginning of the year. Mushrooms, but no fall color yet. I would think this high up would be getting more fall color. So that plan got bagged, and it was like, oh, it's gonna be a nice day, too nice of a day to go do Green Lake, because you can do Green Lake, last bits of looping, you can go do Green Lake on any old cloudy day, and that can be a early or a late season hike because it doesn't get much elevation and it's a pretty lake. So bagged that too, and I was like, hey, it's nice and sunny, screw it, let's go do Naches Peak loop. I've done it before, I know what it is, it ain't gonna take me very long. And about halfway up I got the idea, let's keep going to Dewey Lake, because this 4.5 miles ain't gonna take me very long. I've done this hike a couple times before, and the last couple of times I've done it with Dad and Jared and Mom, we got it done so early that when we finished it, we then had Mom drop us off over at the lower Tipsoo Lake parking lot, and then did the east side trail almost all the way down to Ohanapakash. So this ain't gonna take me very long, but oh well. Like I was saying, I don't want to go do Dewey Lake because that's high on Nash's list, and I think my father would enjoy it a lot too. So I don't want to, you know, it's always the balance between go do really cool stuff that will entertain me and entertain the viewers, but also don't do all the cool things without my father and Nash. And Dad would have joined today, but he already made an appointment for Hopper to get his fluid changed, because he's at whatever it is, 140 or 150,000 miles, when you're supposed to get your tranny and your diff changed and some other things. So he already made that appointment for like 8 o'clock this morning. So, and it's a Thursday, so Nash works. So yeah, but we'll go, that's Naches Peak over there, and then over there is going to be Yakima Peak. So yeah, and I believe we'll come up from here along the backside of Tipsoo Lake. So the crest, the spine crest going that way, and here and up is the boundary between Mount Rainier National Park and Wenatchee National Forest. As you can see, Mount Rainier National Park there. Now the other side, it says Wenatchee National Forest, depending where you're driving. So yeah, there'll be this video when I get around on the backside over there somewhere where you get a nice view down. I will get a long exposure of Mount Rainier from up there, and then there's a couple of good spots along the road down there where you can get a halfway decent view of Mount Rainier and Tipsoo Lake from the road. And I'll pull over to one of those spots and deploy the tripod and get a video there too. So you're gonna get 2 videos of Mount Rainier, long exposures of Mount Rainier today from practically the same spot. Oh well. And then a nice little hike in the Alpine, which is good because the high Alpine folder is woefully thin at the moment and needs to be thickened out some. Morning.
Bridge is that way, huh?
Yep, unless you want to cross the busy highway. Yeah, have a good one. So yeah, now we're officially going to be going into the William O. Douglas Wilderness, which is east of Rainier in between highways 410 and highway 12. So there's Yakima Peak, and yeah, I think the Crest Trail. Yeah, it wraps all the way around and goes up into that second one. This first one, no. I mean, Crystal Mountain Resort is right on the other side. That border, that ridgeline, and into this valley, there's no wilderness to the road. And then up and over on the other side is Crystal Mountain and eventually Naches Peak Wilderness. So yeah, we'll walk the Crest Trail, do this, and then call it an early day and get back to crunching on YouTube. Kind of upset at wasting such a nice sunny day, but I guess I should have had a better backup plan for if the bike wasn't going to work. I really need to be less cranky, I know. I mean, considering everything, you're out here on a gorgeous late summer day because it's not fall yet. It's the 19th of September? Yeah, 19th of September. Fall's not for another 2 days. The sun's out, it's not hot, there's no bugs. And you're walking around in an area as pretty as this, and you're shortly going to get to see Mount Rainier. And totally forgot, I don't know how I know how I forgot, I was throwing a hissy fit about my hiking options, but I ran into Nick this morning. Yeah, Zentner, one of my college professors, you know, Nick on the Rocks, 2-minute geology, the man, the myth, the legend, bringing Pacific Northwest geology, some of the coolest, most interesting and widest variety geology anywhere in the world, to your YouTube screens for everyone and anyone in the world to see and learn about. And he dumbs it down to where the regular person can easily understand and not get lost in words that I can't even hardly pronounce. Yeah, that guy. He was showing a pair of newer professors, newer as in they had been hired since I graduated in 2018, some of the rock formations. I don't know if he was going all the way to White Pass today or if he was just hanging out at Chinook Pass today, but he was about halfway between Cayuse Pass and Chinook Pass and was driving up and it's like, huh, there's some people looking at rocks. Normally I do that. I better, oh, there's the official wilderness boundary sign. I hope they're not collecting rocks. And then I look on the other side at the pullout and there's this dude standing there next to the car just watching them. I'm like, I know that stance. That is Nick. So I slapped on the brakes, went and chatted with him for about 10 minutes until the other 2 professors were done looking at a particular spot, and then I let them be. But yeah, I've had a couple of close encounters with Nick, as in I've been in the same area he's been in a couple days apart or something, but I've never actually, you know, ta-da, hi Nick. And yes, he immediately recognized me and knew me by name and asked how the YouTube channel was going and so on and so on. Yeah, Go to small schools, kids. You don't need to go to the big D1 schools with 30,000 people running around. If you go to a school with 10,000, your professors will know you and you will like them a lot more. Still on the Crest Trail, about halfway to the junction with the Naches Peak loop. Just over a mile into the PCT portion of this hike, and we're opening up out of the trees for a little bit. Naches Peak. Should open up my phone and see if those guys are actually named. You know, you have the technology now. What does Peak Finder say? Peak Finder says that is Chinook Peak, the first pointy one. Silver King's next to it, and then a three-way peak is furthest off to the right, and then it runs down. And supposedly you can see Fife's peaks, but I don't see it. I think there's trees in the way. So yeah, nice open area. And yeah, this is normally very pretty, and this is probably would be I get my thumbnail from, but I mean, there's going to be a volcano here shortly, so that'll be the thumbnail. No mountie goats, no elky elks, no deer, no nothing hanging out in the meadows at the moment. I've heard a couple of pika weeps, but I haven't seen them either. Screw it. I backtracked to this rocky spot where you can actually get decently good views down into Dewey Lakes. Big one is there, little one is there, and after I turned this off, I was watching the ptarmigans for, oh my goodness, look, Mount Adams sticking up right there. It's faint enough to where you're not going to hear on the GoPro, so he's probably on the other bowl. But I did hear 3 warm-up elk calls. It is getting to be that time of year. Some of these trails, they talk about, you come out here and do it in September, and especially in October, you can see and hear the elk herds. They like hanging up here in the summertime, and eventually they'll make their way down towards Yakima. They'll winter down in the state wildlife areas, down in the sagebrush basalt steppes, like at Oak Creek Wildlife Area. They actually feed them out. There's a couple of stations there. One in Oak Creek, there's one in, I think it's LT Murray, along Menashtash. And maybe this winter we'll go hang out at one of those feed stations for a portion of a day and shoot some schmelky, getting grubbing. It won't be super exciting. It's not like they'll be super wild. I mean, it's going to be middle of winter, going to be hanging out, hiding anyway, but at least they'll be there and viewable, and seeing them in the middle of winter would be kind of cool. But now, let's head back down to the junction and walk around and start getting views of Rainier, Mount Rainier, the volcano, the mountain. One that everybody knows. And Mount Adams Wilderness is completely closed right now, and it has been for the last like 6 weeks, 7 weeks, because of a fire in the southern portion. Much like how most of the morning. Much like how most of the Lake Chelan Sawtooth Wilderness has been closed for almost all summer because of the Pioneer Fire. Although this time of year, especially with the amount of water we've gotten in the last couple weeks, has hopefully knocked those fires down enough to maybe come October 1st they'll reopen some of those trails so we can go get some fall hikes in. Because it's almost the entirety of the Lake Chelan Sawtooth Wilderness is closed right now. Anything pretty much south of the Twisp River is closed, which is like 70% of the wilderness here. There are some trails, like the Twisp River Trail to Twisp Pass, Dagger Lake, Stiletto Vista, North Creek to North Lake, and one or two others I think are open, but yeah, which sucks because that just severely limits what larch hikes we can go do and go see. Little chirpy birdie, you can fly. There you go. Because a lot of those don't get, well, some of them do get lots of action, but it's not like Heather Pass, Blue Lake, those ones. It lets you spread out some, and if those are all going to be closed this fall, it's going to force everybody to do the same half a dozen larch hikes. And it's going to get really busy. Alright, so we're going to come up and around. Looks like there's too much cloud cover to see St. Helens, but I know I saw the top of Adams. Don't know if we'll get around stuff enough. Probably not. That peak is going to be in the way, so we probably won't get to see any more Adams. But we should get half a decent view of Rainier here soon. I think that was the old official park boundary sign there. Somewhere along here I'll find hopefully a nice rocky spot where there won't cause any trail damage, and I can get a view and a video of. Fuck, it might be right here. Oh yeah, there's the volcano. Now, and I think I am going to shoot from right here. So I'm going to take a long exposure from right here, and then I'll take video of walking through all this, and probably be the thumbnail from right in there somewhere. But right now I'm going to take this long exposure, read my book a little bit, and I'll tag that video right there. Alright, I just left my lunch spot and I'm evacuating because, remember kids, this is a very popular trail. And it is school season, so you probably can hear them. A nice school group showed up, so I waited about 10 minutes too long. But, oh well, it happens. So yeah, that was going to be a long exposure. I mean, it is school time. It's good to get the kids out and do school trips. That is the good thing to do, and it is worth it. It's just, a group of 20 of them, or however big the group is way too big for me. Damage. I would have preferred getting video here instead of back up there maybe, but there's no good rocks to sit on and I don't want to do any more meadow damage than has already been done by other people walking off trail, so oh well. Should point out that plug there is Naches Peak. I'm sure it's the vent of some old, long since dead volcano. So now we got a mile and a half of walking downhill back towards the Chinook Pass Road and Highway 410 in the vicinity of Tipsoo Lake, which will have views of Rainier most of the time. And then we'll walk about a mile along Tipsoo Lake, and then we'll be back at Rex, and then I'll go find a spot along the highway to get a long exposure of Tipsoo Lake and Mount Rainier, because why not? Plus it gives me more time to read, and I like reading in the woods. Yeah. Well, there was some bear grass out this summer, not a lot, but some. Looking down the Ohanapecosh River Valley, back at the mountain. Come on, volcano. Climb into the tree? Or are you still on the ground? Sounds like he's still on the ground. Kind of looks like paradise is still frogged in. Although it might be wide open, that could just be clinging onto the original Olali Ridge over there. We are beginning our final descent back down to Chinook Pass. The road chunk in front of us is the chunk that goes between Chinook and Cayuse Pass and Mount Rainier. And then you can see disturbances on that ridgeline back there. That is the road to Sunrise. I'm gonna stop here and get a picture of the mountain. I totally forgot I zoomed in the GoPro from its normal linear stabilization to the zoomed in focus. So hopefully I'm keeping things centered nicely. Now we are approaching Tipsoo Lake and the roadway. Yeah, it's gonna be noisy. It's a highway. It's still open, you know where it happens. And somewhere, I think we can just walk across and walk down, maybe, and walk over in front of Tipsoo Lake and go up the other side, I believe. I believe. I don't know, I don't remember. So I don't think we went back to the vehicle after this. We sent Mom back to Hopper by herself to drive her down to Ohanapikosh. I don't know. Well, this looks like it branches off that way. That's just a spirited campsite, so yeah, we gotta go around Tipsoo Lake somewhere to get back to. So that's the east side trail going down from there. This is where we start the east side trail. At some point we'll do that and go all the way down to Ohanapikosh. I'll post that right there. Pacific Crest Trail and Dewey Lake that way, 3 miles. Highway crossing east side trail. I think down to Ohanapikosh one way is like 7.5 or 8 miles, I think. So yeah, now we go down to Tipsoo Lake, walk around Tipsoo Lake, and go up that backside over there, and back to the bridge. Don't go over the bridge. Go back to the bridge in Rex, and then we'll come find a spot to park over there, hopefully, and get a long exposure of Tipsoo Lake and mountain. Bet you didn't think you were going to get a highway crossing in this video. Yes, I looked both ways. I'm not dumb. Gorgeous Tipsoo Lake. Trail goes all the way around the lake and meets up on the backside and then goes up. Stay on the trails, no drones, no dogs. You know, normal stuff that people don't like to pay attention to. There's the mountain there. I want to hang out somewhere up there. The parking doesn't go that far back. The parking only goes back to there, but I'm going to probably walk up, take my chair and GoPro stuff and hang out up there and shoot the mountain with the lake. It'll be noisy, but that'll just be how it is. And I'm probably going to run my outro right now since I am here and you don't got much further to go. No swimming, no fishing. It's a shallow lake. Please stay on the trails. You'll destroy the ecosystem. It's very fragile. We're at 5,500 feet. So yeah, Tipsoo Lake. And the completion of the Naches Peak loop in Mount Rainier National Park. I have been your host, Brandon Scott, on this Cooley Outdoors adventure. Accessibility, well, it's like, it was an hour and a half from my house, so we'll round up and say 2 hours from downtown Seattle, all paved, all highway, but This usually doesn't get plowed and opened up till mid-July, and the snow is usually not gone and walkable till late July. And then the snows are going to start rolling in here in a couple weeks again. Anyway, let's walk along the lake. So yeah, you've got like a 4-month window to come up into this area. So even though you can easily drive up here, only when you can drive up here, I'm going to give it 3 stars for accessibility. Difficulty, what am I at? Not including